The lesson.
Oh yeah.
Trap runners, which you've been a significant part of. Obviously, it's hard to sort of tell the trap runner story from your perspective in like 10-15 minutes. But as best as you can you walk us through, I guess, how you got into rap and then how that grew into the whole trap runners thing and then where that sort of is at today as a group?
Yeah, for sure. What I said before, bro, I think, me getting into rap was just a vent, you know what I mean? And I think with the boys, and they'll agree with this too, is that, we were in an environment or around people that I didn't know anyone, bro, that was rapping. I didn't know anyone that could record. I didn't know anyone that could do anything. So I sort of just grabbed my own stuff and started getting into it. And this is my passion. This is what I want to do. I love making music. I want to give back to people and help change their life, like music. The artists that I listen to changed my life. Inspired me. So yeah, that's probably how I got into it. Was just the whole I guess a way of venting and expressing our emotions. Because back then it wasn't normal to do as a male, and especially not in Western Sydney, in Penrith and Mount Druitt and Blacktown, bro. That's the last thing you do. Show emotion. What does Get Rich or Die Trying say? Love will get you killed. You know what I mean? And it's the same as showing emotion. So, but now it's like a man that's vulnerable and puts it out there for the world to see. That's bravery. You know what I mean? It helps people. I get people, the toughest guys you ever meet, saying this song saved my life. So that's what got me into it. As for the group stuff, it's sort of to break it down quite quickly. I didn't know anyone. I'm from Penrith. Sesk is from Blacktown. Enter's from Hurstville. Merxie's from Melbourne, and then even Gravy was around that area. He's from Liverpool in Sydney as well. I was thinking about this before, about how it all happened, and I actually was out one night up in Gosford in the Central Coast, me and the boys, and Savage was performing at this place. I was like, I want to go through and see Savage, bro. I'm talking like I'm 12 years old, whatever it was, playing Swing on the phone in the back of the bus. I want to see Savage, right? And I pulled up to this gig, and there was a guy supporting him by the name of Petty Cash, and he was a guy from I don't know where he's originally from, but he was, based around Richmond, Windsor, Western Sydney in the day. And his manager or producer at the time was a guy called Victor from Druitt Empire, based in Mount Druitt. We started, chopping it up, getting talking. I was speaking to Vic, and I said, look, I'm from Penrith Bar, you know what I mean? I'm just up here for a weekend. I seen Savages playing. I thought I'd come check it out. We just exchanged numbers. This is probably like 2011, 12. We started talking, and at the time, he was just starting to record Sesk. And through the relationship I got with Vic, just, obviously I wasn't focused on music at that time, but every now and then I'd pop through at Mountie and stop in and see him and see what was happening. And I met Sesk through him. That probably would have been like 2012, 2013. And yeah, from the jump, bro, me and Sesk we just kicked it off, you know what I mean? We're both the same person. Obviously music's what brought us together. But outside of music, same with all the boys. It wasn't just music that brought us together. We become like a family and mateship and brotherhood and stuff. So I met Sesk then, and then obviously Sesk, through the Hustle Hard era, I had connections with Enter. And the Sydney Searcher days, Sesk was always cool with Skis and Sky High and Enter. And I think it must have been 2014, 15, I started to, make a few songs with Sesk, and we were kicking it off. And I think him and Enter had done a track together, and Enter sort of asked about me and stuff like that. And Sesk said, look, yeah, he's legit, you know what I mean? He's one of the boys. And at this time, I think Enter was trying, like we all do, to get an album done, which was end up being Southside Story. And I think he was just sort of struggling to get it all put together. And I think Seth sort of said to him, hey, hit Lux up. Like, Lux raps, but he also produces, and he's really good, in putting a project together or helping you, get the wheels in motion. So yeah, Sesk introduced me to Enter. And I think around that time, Enter had gone down to Melbourne and met Mercs. And originally, I think Mercs and a few of his mates started the Trap Runners label down there, and were rapping. And then obviously, yeah, I met Mercs through Enter. And yeah, look, we were making music, but we also built a bond of, mateship, man, you know what I mean? And went through a lot of shit together as well. So we started putting a lot of music out. Mercs was living in Sydney for a fair time. Mercs was actually living with my brother for a while there. We all just started making music, and then, people started popping in and around, and Gravy and stuff like that. We were floating around. And I think Sess mentioned on your interview, we never really had that conversation of like, hey, we're going to be a group. You know what I mean? We just sort of were like making music. So I think Mercs and Enter sort of kicked that whole Trap Runner thing off. And then I think we just had that chemistry on a track together, all of us. We started making stuff, and obviously we become good mates and friends, and spending more time with each other. We started, wanting to write more music. So yeah, and it sort of just snowballed into that. What I did notice, but too, and this, as I said, the boys last few years, like I spent a lot of time and a lot of energy recording and filming the boys, and I used to tell the boys all the time, it's all right for them, they come in, drop a 16 and go home, bro. I'm sitting there like we couldn't pay anyone, we didn't know anyone. I'm mixing and mastering things myself. I'm recording the boys, so I feel like I didn't get to put my energy into my music as much. I've now sort of stepped back from that role. But yeah, look, in the moment, that music, some of the music was just, great, but also too, I think we're all growing, and we've all grown in different areas and stuff like that. But yeah, I look back on it, man, some of the gigs we had and shit like that, and just the laughs and the journey. But to be like, a couple of different lads from different areas, music all brought us together, and that was the bottom line. But there was a lot of things that, happened in everyone's personal life. Enter got cancer. We lost our parents. People going to jail. So there was no real consistency in that, and we never sat down like a professional group and said, this is what we're going to do. We just want to make music. We just, in that time, you get bloody 500,000 views and you're breaking the internet. And now it's like 500,000 views they're doing overnight, right? So, and obviously like Enter and Sesk already had a really well-established sort of career, much before me. That's why, people sort of look at me like, oh, yo, OG, this, that, like, but honestly, I really wasn't around, and I don't think I put enough content out to be labelled that way. I was around, but my energy was in a different space, like I told you before. So for me, moving forward from this point, I feel like the next 5-10 years for my personal music is probably what I want to set as my legacy. But to be around them boys in that time period, we probably won't realize how great it was, or how cool it was at that point, and how influential it was. I would be here all day if I told you how many artists that are much more established than me right now have reached out to me beforehand, sent me their raps, asked for help. I did it out of love, bro, because that's what hip hop's about. And boys all over the country, doesn't matter where you're from or what it was. You know what I mean? And however people wanted to act after that, that's on them, bro. They got to live with it, not me. But yeah, it was a great period, of fun, but obviously too, everyone's sort of asking where we're all at now, and what's happening. And I'll tell you the best way to explain this, because I've been thinking about how not to hurt the boys' feelings. In that period, even now, everyone's got family. We were a dysfunctional family, and that's how it works. I'd be lying if I say I wasn't hurt by a few things. Not directed at me, you know what I mean? Like, I'm cool with all the boys. A few of the boys have had periods of not talking and button heads. But that's what happens when you grab 4 or 5 boys that have come through so much trauma and pain and shit, man. What do you expect's going to happen? So I'd be lying if I said, there's been some situations where it hurt me, because I did put a lot of just like the boys did. They put a lot of energy and time, but I put a lot of energy, a lot of hours, a lot of time, and a lot of peace talks. And I just, I felt like, there's an old saying that I sort of live by. You sort of, how long do you water a flower before you realise it's dead? And that's what I got at a point a couple of years back with the boys. We all still talk daily, weekly, whenever. It's love, man. They know that. But I've just told them, hey, listen, I'm doing me for a bit because I didn't get an opportunity to do me, and they should do them. And they're all doing what they should do. We've all got families. We've all got, work. We've all got other things, and we're all doing our own music. Not saying that we might not all link up and do a song together. There's definitely going to be times when we do songs with the boys. But as for the group stuff, I just feel like, there was it's too much fucking shit, bro. Like, honestly, that's it. Like, everyone's got a family, right? I'm sure you, bro, there's people in your family that don't talk. And, bro, we come from a lot of hurt. We come from a lot of fucking hurt. So to match all that energy together and think that it's just going to be smooth, it just doesn't happen. And I can tell you right now, every group in Australia will be the same. But yeah, look, all the boys, none of us hate each other or something like that. We're just, everyone's got mouths to feed and certain things. And I think we're all to the point where we're growing individually too. That's where I'm at, really.
When you look at when you look at any big successful groups from American hip hop, you look at your Tribe Called Quest, you look at your Wu-Tangs, you look at your Gang Starrs, your Mobb Deeps, you almost start to realize, like, at some point they don't get along for a while. It's the nature of it, right?
Just the nature, bro. Same thing. My favorite rap group's G Unit.
And they break up, right? So now what I noticed is when the dust settles and they talk about it years down the line, the thing that I notice the most is that it's usually a breakdown due to money, women, and ego, right?
Hey,
I guess my question for you is, in your honest opinion, how much do you think those three things played a part in, say, you guys going your separate ways, or was it none of that at all?
It definitely wasn't women, I'll tell you that much, because we all fucking loved up, you know what I mean? But that didn't. I guess it's different in America with all their culture. They just chuckle themselves. The money really wasn't there, bro. You know what I mean? Like, even the money wasn't there. Like, what you make on a gig. We took the boys around I took the boys around the country. I fucking ended up out of pocket because the money's hard to find, right? You're putting shows on and stuff like that. The money's hard to find, and we didn't have Spotify and YouTube, paying us money and shit like that. So I wouldn't say it's the money. I think in the back of everyone's head, there's always a little bit of, well, hang on a minute. This person over here's getting a bit of this, and this person's getting a bit of that. We should all get, you know what I mean? And as I said, bro, we've all got families to feed. If there's 4 of us and there's 5 or 10 people in each ear, that's 50 people with different intentions. Ego plays a part in everything, right? Ego's what gives us, if I wasn't egotistic, I wouldn't be a rapper. Why do you think I tell the boys when I jump on a track, I smoke all of you? You know what I mean? And they say the same thing. That's confidence. I think, look, not from my part. A few of the boys, maybe ego gets in the way. But that's, sometimes our confidence, our ego blurs our lines. I just think, like what I said before, we're a dysfunctional family, bro. And to come from so much pain and to continue to go through pain, you got to understand, like, I'm losing parents, Sesk losing parents. We're in a negative lifestyle. Enter's going to jail. Mercs is going to jail. People are dealing with addictions, right? So it was really hard for me because I was always the peacemaker. Even to this day, I'm in the middle because I sit there and go, well, hang on a minute, what are you disagreeing about? But I think it was just a mixture of everything. But, I think all the boys right now, if they were sitting, we all sat together in a room. It's all love, man. Because I think we're all at a point, we understand what life's about. you know. But in that time period, there's so much extra pressure and shit. And I don't think it was never one of us like, oh, we want to be the superstar, we want to be this, we want to be that. I just think, you know, and like I said before, I think things just happen for a reason, man. Whatever positive moment we took out of that, we take it. And as far as I go, I said to me, I'm focusing on myself because I feel like for the world I can give the best version of myself, putting my energy into myself. So, yeah, I don't think there'll be any major factors. You know, there was a bit of riffraff and shit like that and disagreements.
Like you said, dysfunctional family.
Yeah, bro, like that's just family. You know, as Seth says to me all the time, I love my family, but I ain't gotta like them. And that's how we all feel, right? We all love each other, but we ain't gotta like you some days. And that's life.
That's just the way that it is.
It is, bro, and that's probably the best way because I know that people are always curious to see what happened and this, and but I speak to the boys, all the time. It's it's all love, and they know that we all wish each other the best. We might get together and fucking do a few songs. We might throw years down the road. We might throw a show on. I don't know, bro, but you don't know, man. You never know where life's gonna take you. And the best thing we can all do is focus on ourselves. We've all got families and kids and priorities and responsibilities. And right now, when I speak to Enter, he's doing family man. When I speak to Merch, he's doing family man. When I speak to Seth, he's doing family man. So yeah, but yeah, that's probably the best way to sum it up. We're a bit of a dysfunctional family, but how could we not be, right? I mean, you've only heard my part of the story. Now go add everyone else's in. Put it together. Like it's not meant to be functioning and proper. And then we don't even know what the fuck we're doing. We're not sitting down going, oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. I'm just sitting there going, yeah, sweet, we're just in the moment. And that's probably what made it, I guess, even more so fascinating to watch because we're just winging it, bruh.
The lesson.
927.